Hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Behind me is my 2001 Mercedes S500 that I bought for only $2,000. It has 200,000 miles and an air suspension that is completely wrecked. I had originally intended for this week's video to be all about replacing the entire air suspension on this car, but as you can see, it's still up in the air. Behind the scenes, this car has been fighting me for 3 weeks. Disassembling this thing has been like an onion of disappointment and sadness. I peel back one layer and find another made up of someone else's bad decisions and sketchy work. But it's not all bad. I've got some really cool surprises in store for you on this car, and I can't wait for you to see this video and all the things we're going to do to it. Unfortunately, because of some previously botched attempts to limp this air suspension along, you're not going to be seeing that video today. I've had to go to multiple junkyards and scavenge parts. In fact, I'm driving 2.5 hours away to another one to pick up some parts today. Fingers crossed, this is the last part I'll need in order to finish up this suspension video. Now, I've promised you a video on this Mercedes, and you're gonna get one. Thankfully, there are plenty of other things broken on this car. In the reveal video for this car, which if you haven't seen, I'll leave a link to it in the description, we discovered that the blower motor wasn't working, but the AC compressor and the rest of the system seemed to be fine. It's getting warmer really quick here, and I'd rather not have a rolling sauna. So let's get that fixed. So one of the issues we have is that the blower motor is not working. So we're gonna pull it out and figure out what's going on. Now, right here, you have to take this panel off. And for that, there's two 8mm bolts. So I got a 8mm socket on a handle. There's two screws like this. Now once these two bolts are out, there's supposed to be one right here, and that is already missing on this car. There we go. Oh. Push it back and then down. Forward. Oh, there's a little connector for the light here. So right here you can see the clips. 2, 3, and the slots. So you're going to slide the whole part downwards and it'll come out of its groove and free it. And right here, there's a little connector for this light. We can slide out so we can remove this. With that done, there's a panel back here you can pull down and out. It's forward. That looks like this. It's got little slots right here and here. And those slot into right here and right here. Now this right here is the cover over the blower motor assembly. It's held on by some Torx screws. And they are T20. We have one back here, one here, that's 3, and then one here, and one here. Oh, that's missing, that's great. And then back here, there's a connector, which you're going to want to pull out. You can push to release it and pull down. Now this panel drops down, and it hooks in at the back, along these, right here. And then we have our blower motor assembly. And that's held on with 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3. The panel that covers this hooks on back here. Over it, there's 4 little tabs that'll slide onto. As part of a continuing trend, there is supposed to be a 4th screw that wasn't present on this one. And that is our blower motor. Now it seems to spin okay, but we'll see. So this is the blower motor we took out, and it turns out this is actually new. And looking it up, it turns out it's a blower motor and blower motor resistor combo that costs about $80, which is, I think, the cheapest available. And with a little bit of testing, we found that the plug over there is getting power properly, but when you adjust the HVAC, the output from the resistor doesn't change. We also checked the motor, and that seems to be working just fine. So we went to a junkyard and picked up some OE resistors out of cars that had the same one. So it turns out the C-Class and ML from this era share the same blower motor resistor. The blower motor may be slightly different, but this part is the same. So what we're gonna do is, I guess, we're gonna connect this, connect the motor, hold the motor out of the way so it doesn't catch on anything, and turn the key in the ignition and see if it works. That snaps in there. Just want to make sure that this is not going to touch anything, because this is going to spin. There it is. Oh, let's turn. It's working. Alright, so I'm going to unplug all that, and we're going to remount the resistor onto the blower. The fourth screw is a little tougher to access because it's hidden behind the resistor. It goes to the back, pull it forward, but also that in there. Alright, that's in place. We tested it one last time before putting the last two panels back in. Auto. And everything's good to go. Now we can put this panel back in. If you remember, it has two flat pieces that will slide in here and here. So we're gonna line that up here. And now, put a panel that comes over here, and that will slide into the little tabs in here. One there, one there, and one there. Now don't forget to reconnect this. As I was putting things together, I realized that putting in the lower panel fully in place at the end was a little easier. Alright, we'll pull that down, reconnect this. Go. Looks like it's in. There we go. So we're going to take a look at the cabin air filters, and that is in here. Take our stuff out here. Someone's been here before. So right up in here and here, there's two Phillips head screws, so we're going to pull those out. I'm using a Phillips head on a ratchet. So I have to pull out these two. Oh, never mind. Oh, there's screws in there. These little caps right here. And right here. And there are two more screws here, and here. And that should come out. Squish it a bit, I guess. And then there's a connector right there. Squeeze and pull. Right here. Right here, there's a little ball in there. So we're going to pull this up, right, and then slide that over, and then that is glove box removed. Our air filters live back here, so to release this, push that up, pull that over. That's a little door. Let's see. There's two, one here and then one next to it. This is actually pretty clean. On this side, pretty clean there. I'll let you take a look. And that slides over. It's also pretty clean too.
Yeah, they've been replaced. And these are activated charcoal.
Okay, so this is not a restriction point. I'll put it back in. Similarly, this goes over, down, and you pivot it, snap it in. There's a little slot right here for you to put the cable through. We'll move this forward. Just have to flex this area here because there's a little tab that catches on the dashboard. Down. We can put our screws back in. So these, remember, don't forget this isn't a plastic, so you don't want to go too tight, just snug. In fact, this one probably needs to go a little more. Now we can put our little caps back on. They're a little oval. Let's put them in lengthwise. Done. So we actually got off pretty easy with this one. A used blower motor resistor from the junkyard got our HVAC working for just $15. It's actually a great start for putting this car back together cheaply. It was really great that all we had to do was plug in our used OEM resistor into the brand new blower motor, but this is also the downside of using cheap, unbranded aftermarket parts. In this case, someone ordered a blower motor and resistor set like this one that we found on eBay for 80 bucks. And when they installed it, it didn't work. They figured that there was something more serious wrong with the car and they just gave up. If you're gonna be putting any car back together on a budget and order these kinds of parts, don't assume that the part will work just because it's new. There are tons of reviews out there about these aftermarket resistors failing out of the box, or even causing the blower motor to keep running after the car's turned off. So if you install a part and it doesn't work, especially when it comes to electrical parts, do a bit more digging and test the new parts. You could be in for a pleasant surprise and a cheap fix. Also, a pro tip on the blower motors and resistors in these W220s. Generally, it's your blower motor that goes first. Usually the bearings will start to go and the motor will experience a lot more resistance, which will often cause it to pop a fuse. That's right here. Don't do what someone did to this car and just put a bigger fuse in. That may get your warm motor working, but it's only prolonging the inevitable and it's gonna burn out your resistor. These motors are really inexpensive, and this is actually the one part that's perfectly fine to get the cheapest unbranded aftermarket part. It's a pretty simple motor and plastic cage. The resistor is the more expensive part, especially if you want quality and durability. So don't burn out your factory resistor by trying to extend your blower motor's life. Also, if you do have a burnt out resistor, try to see if your local junkyard has a couple of Mercedes of the same generation. So this was a win, and we needed a win. Now, I'm gonna head to the salvage yard and get another part, and as soon as I get this thing aired up, I'll get the video wrapped up. I'm really excited for you to see that, and I'm not gonna wait till next week to publish it. I'll put it up as soon as it's done, so keep an eye out for that. If you found this video to be helpful, or you just want to make me feel better about all the broken parts I found while tearing into the suspension, leave a like. If you've ever had a brand new part fail on you and derail your project, let me know what it was and how it went down in the comments. If you just want to see the onion of disappointment that was the suspension teardown, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.